Hello everyone, and welcome to the second episode of Star Trek Osiris, a Starbase-centric game using the rules by Modifius Entertainment. My name is E02 the Game Master, and joining me are three lovely individuals who will meet right away because we ended on a little bit of a cliffhanger. So we will start with Professor Hex. Hex, anything you want to shout out and who you playing?
Yes, hello. I am Professor Hex. I am playing Commander Vakobe Ka, a Vinchari person who is inexplicably also Scottish, despite I imagine there not being a Scotland on the Vinchari planet. I guess remains to be seen. And I am pleased to be here, and I am also not in a Star Wars movie with Willem Dafoe.
Hmm. Very good, very good.
Despite what ChatGPT might tell you.
Despite what
Cool. Up next, MGX, what do you got going on?
Hey everyone, I'm MGX. I will be playing Lieutenant Junior Grade Talix, a Denobulan science officer, and just want to say thanks again to all of my friends who are watching and joining today.
Cool. And then Umbral.
Hi everyone, my name is Umbral SNPY. I am also a VTuber like this person, and I will be playing someone by the name of Ensign Kiata Evans, a wide-eyed, fresh out of the academy greenhorn with a lot of ideas about what it means to be a Starfleet officer and no idea of what's ahead of him. I wasn't here for last session because of some personal issues, but I'm very, very grateful to be here finally today. Thank you so much for running this game, ELH.
Yeah, you're quite welcome. And with that, let's run the intro video. And welcome back. Now, one thing I do want to say real quick is that YouTube, unfortunately, I have to cut the intro out of the actual session VODs, but you can always go watch the actual intro session or intro opening movie on my channel in this very same playlist, which has 30,000 views for some reason. So thank you, YouTube algorithm.
Oh, is there like a legal thing there?
Yeah, well, yeah. Unfortunately, the intro is copyright claimed, so if I were to put it in this video, I'd have to copyright claim the sessions themselves. So to not get copyright claimed, I just cut out the intro from the actual sessions.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
If you're one of the small percentage of Earth's population that hasn't seen the Osiris title sequence yet, please do so.
Yeah.
Yes, it is very well made.
Oh, Lord. Well, we were talking before the session about who is going to do an opening log, but I believe Lieutenant Junior Grade Talix has written one. So, Talix, please feel free.
Science Officer's Log. We arrived at Osiris Station via shuttle after our unanticipated stop in the Xerxes system. And while the station's outgoing commander's initial assessment of the station was that it would not see much action here on the edges of Federation space, this singular afternoon has already proven this theory to be quite, shall we say, incorrect. I've already become well acquainted with the station's gremlin species. They appear to be rather caffeine addicted. They're from a nearby star system, so I've learned. And I'm still experiencing some facial tingling ever since I had that sip of their finest drink. But neither here nor there, the greatest excitement has come from a ship brought to us by a Vulcan research vessel. The ship appears to take on the form of whatever the person looking at it is thinking, and appears at odds with the physical and temporal realities we most frequently experience. We continue our studies of this phenomenon as an unknown ship warps towards the station.
Okay. And you may have one momentum for that opening log. And with chat's complication, that means we are sitting at 3 momentum and 8 threat total. So we are all going to go to the ops of Starbase 675, also known as Osiris Station. Again, since some of people are new and this is a new series, the ops of Osiris Station is very much done in a TOS flare. So basically take what we see on DS9 with the sort of circular ops design and maybe make it a more unilevel rather than the Cardassian multi-level. But instead of the Cardassian architecture, we see the classic, like, those old scientist era sort of trappings, where lots of buttons and doodads and knobs and a lot of physical controls rather than the nice, sleek L cars that are on newer starbases and ships. But as the three of you arrive in ops to deal with the incoming ship, we need to talk about Ensign Evans for a moment. So, what do we see when we see Ensign Evans?
So, I'm stepping on ops, you said, right?
Yeah, you're in ops.
Okay, so as this young man steps onto the ops center, he is a young man, maybe in his early 20s, 21, 22, something like that, wearing, operations uniform. He has a single pip identifying him as an ensign. He has black, barely regulation hair that kind of nearly cascades around his face, semi-curly. He's Caucasian, with this kind of, again, that wide look in his eyes, that you all kind of expect from someone like this. But the most noticeable feature to come out of him is that his side of his face has what looks like an old burn scar. And this may be unusual to some due to the fact that a burn scar like that would be very easy to treat, and yet there it is.
All right. And of course, we have the good Denobulan Talix, and we have the Vinshari Vokobe Ka. But as you all step into ops and take your positions, Zenlith, who's still kind of a little bit out of it from the encounter with the shuttle of requirement, as I'm calling it, but she kind of takes her station, looks at the readouts, and says, "Well, Commander, it looks like the alien vessel is not responding to hails and should be within visual range within the next 5 minutes. As per your orders, we are at yellow alert, but I will warn you that we actually haven't needed to even test fire the phasers of this station in, oh boy, about 4 years. So anyone's guess if they're still working properly."
Let's hope that will not be required. Barring that, we could possibly create a sort of modern-day trebuchet and launch certain shuttles at them. Perhaps one that we've been experimenting with over the past 20 minutes.
But if we
just a thought.
If we use it as a trebuchet, then we lose the immense engineering and scientific value of that same shuttle.
I think perhaps you're not considering the alternative, which is that we'll be alive.
A very fair point, sir. You, and she points at some random gremlin, "I need more coffee. Acquire me coffee." And the gremlin snaps a salute, runs off to a replicator. But, you do have a few moments to discuss what to do as this ship is literally barreling at the station.
Commander, if I may, if there's really concerns regarding the functionality of our phasers, I think I can take a look at them to try to verify if they're ready to go. I just need to make sure that the power cells and all the cross-wiring and such is still in place, but it shouldn't take too long.
Well then, Ensign, make it happen. You have 3 minutes.
Aye, sir. And I'm going to go get into whatever I need to get into.
Yeah, Mr. Evans, if you could give me a reason and engineering at a difficulty of 1.
At a difficulty of 1.
Don't know that you have a focus here, though.
Let me check. I do not. So, reason and engineering, you said?
Correct.
It's going to be 10 and 4, so remind me, I'm trying to get below that number.
Yeah, so the way it works is you would check the reason box on your character sheet and then engineering on the disciplines, and you add those two scores together and you're rolling underneath that score.
Oh wait, I'm looking at my old character sheet. Hold on. Oops.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look at the one in the actual thing. So I have a reason of 9 and an engineering of 4, which gives me a total of 13.
Yep, so on a 13 or lower, you get 1 success on a dice. If you roll a natural 1, that counts as 2 successes. And since I said the difficulty is a 1, you only need to get me 1 success in your dice pool.
Okay. Is there a place in the Foundry that I specifically need to roll, or can I use virtual dice?
Yeah, so Foundry will handle all the rolling for us. So what you want to do is check the attribute and discipline on your character sheet.
Uh-huh.
And then once you've selected Reason and Engineering, you'll hit the Perform Task button.
Reason and Engineering. Perform task. Perform task.
And then it's going to pop up a new window asking you some questions. And you're not using a focus here. And don't worry about dedicated focus. Dedicated focuses do not matter in this game.
There's no determination of value in this.
Complication range stays at a 20. And then number of dice in pool always starts at 2 unless you are assisting. But I will point out that you do have a talent called Bold Engineering, which means if you give me at least one threat to buy at least one additional dice, you can re-roll an engineering roll, but you don't have to.
Okay, well, I don't think I'm too worried, so I'm going to give this a go.
Okay, just a straight roll.
Rolling.
All right, that is 2 successes, and since it was a difficulty of 1, 2 minus 1 is 1, so you go up to 4 momentum. So, Evans, I have good news for you. The phasers, while a little bit dusty, they should function as needed. Regular maintenance has been done on them, even if they haven't actually been fired in a long period of time. Though I will point out that they are the old style of phase banks rather than phaser banks. So they still pack a punch because they're on a starbase that's freaking huge. But at the same time, they are not as powerful as phasers would be.
Evans is kind of amused by the kind of antiquity of the technology, but also a little impressed. You know, it's not every day that you come across what is essentially a classic.
Mm-hmm.
But once I am able to verify the functionality of the phasers, I tap my comm badge. Ensign Evans to Commander Bakobi.
Bakobi receiving. Ensign. Report.
Phasers should be online, sir. I was able to verify the integrity of the power cells. I'm running a couple more diagnostics here and there, but I'm fairly certain they can fire. But they're not going to be putting out the same kind of output that you might be used to. These things are old, sir.
That's understandable, Ensign. This whole place is a bit of a relic, but I imagine if we need to, put our punches into order, then this old girl probably has some fight left in her. Make them prepped, and keep them ready.
Aye, sir. Ensign Evans out.
All right. Is there anything else that anybody wants to accomplish before the alien ship comes into visual range?
So, E, before we move on,
yes.
What is sort of standard protocol for the yellow alert on this starbase?
So the yellow alert is shields goes up, weapons are charged, but they are not target locked, they are not brought to full power. They are brought to about 50% power. Mm-hmm. There's also, obviously, everybody on duty has to go to their duty station, and any civilians on the promenade are strongly advised to take shelter.
They're thrown into a nearby closet and told to stay there.
I mean, that's red alert, but pretty much.
Okay, so shields are up. All right, well, that was going to be my next command if it hadn't been done. Okay, good.
And of course, since this is now your station, you can always go back and change that. But the default setting is shields up, everybody get to your duty station, bring weapons to half power.
Okay, that's sensible.
Do we know yet if the ship is close enough for us to run scans on biosigns?
No, unfortunately, until it comes in visual range, you're not going to be able to make that determination.
Okay, thanks.
Do we have a sense of how long it's going to take for that vessel to be within sensor range?
Literally 1.5 minutes.
Okay. How far, in terms of sheer distance, can our communications get?
Oh, you could attempt to hail and talk to them right now. The problem is that they just haven't been returning anything. If you mean more, can you get a message to Starfleet? Yeah, you can get a message to Starfleet.
I think that's probably premature as of now. But I guess I will ask the communications officer to just keep up the hailing attempt, so that we're crossing our T's and dotting our I's here.
Aye, sir. I'm continually rotating through all bands, all frequency, all messages.
But don't forget all known languages.
Oh, yes. I'm even including some known to the aquatic Zindi and dolphins.
Somehow I doubt we'll come toe to toe with dolphins here today, especially since they lack toes traditionally.
Well, this is a interesting post, sir, and you never know what'll happen.
Yes, I'm increasingly becoming aware of that.
And then, yeah, unless anybody has anything else they want to add, at this point, the alien ship finally drops out of warp within visual range. Naturally, it's immediately put on the view screen. And what you see is a ball of light that is very similar to a star, but it's not like a star size. It's about the size of a runabout. And then surrounding this ball of light is a prismatic crystalline structure that vaguely resembles a diamond. So kind of a diamond prism, whatever the official name for that is. But the prismatic ship starts to chug at the station at full impulse. And the communications officer says, sir, they are transmitting a message, but I'm not able to decipher what it is. Shall I play it for us?
Please.
And moments later, everybody in ops or anybody tuned into the situation would hear the equivalent of a record scratch mixed with a car crash, mixed with a lot of like harsh white noise. For anybody who knows Star Trek, this is very similar to what the Breen sound like when they're using their helmets. But it's very much a discordant noise that makes no sense whatsoever.
Incredibly painful. That'll be all. If you could run pattern recognition on that message to see if we can pick up any kind of aggressive or peaceful intent from the message, if it's not able to be translated.
Aye, sir. And for this, I think actually, Vokobe Ka, you could do a roll here.
Okay.
And the reason I'm saying that is because you have cold reading, which definitely applies here.
Yeah, I'll listen to this alien screamo and see if I can get any kind of intent out of it.
Yeah, exactly. Plus, it also makes sense because you're Vinchari, and Vinchari are all about the whole audio thing. So,
sure, we are voice people.
Mm-hmm.
That's certainly true.
All right, so for this, I think this is an insight command. And you will, of course, have a focus of cold reading. I will say that this is going to be a difficulty of 3, though.
Okay, so since we have 4 momentum, I'm lobbying to use just one of those to get an additional die.
Okay.
If everybody's okay with that.
Sounds good.
Okay, focus, 3 die, complication range is the same, insight and command.
Mm-hmm.
Big bucks, no whammies.
Okay, well, that is 2 successes with a complication. It was a difficulty of 3, though. So I can offer you a success with 2 complications, or you can simply fail with a complication. It's your choice.
Okay, hold on a second. Do I have determination?
Yes, everybody gets determination max, so everybody should be
Okay.
at least 1 determination here.
Okay. Let's see. So I could use this to re-roll.
You could.
Let's see.
I'm also looking
Try to
for
think if
your
there are
talents.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if there are any like values here that might, prompt that re-roll for determination. You know what? It is, I think, more interesting to succeed at a cost.
Okay, so succeeding with 2 complications. So one of those complications, I'm actually just going to bank 2 threat. But as Vokobeka, as you are listening and trying to decipher the intent of this message, what you're understanding is that you're not able to pick out specific words or really a way to communicate with this alien species. But I mean, you're a Vinchari. You're in command. You know how to listen to people. Again, cold reading as a focus. And this is the equivalent of like somebody in real life coming up to you and like shaking you violently and like gesturing frantically and trying to get you to follow them, but you have no idea what they're saying. So obviously, I don't know what languages Profess Hex knows in real life, but this would be the equivalent of someone like coming up to me and like shouting at me in German and trying to get me to follow them, if that makes any sense.
It does. It does. Yes. So more specifically, is the intent that I'm picking up on one like specifically of "Hey, follow me," or is that just part of your explanation or your metaphor here?
Part of the metaphor. It's
Okay.
an urgent voice. It's a stressed voice. It is something that requires immediate attention, if that makes sense.
Okay. Yes. So it's urgent, but not specific as to the action that needs to be taken.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Well, I imagine that the commander will probably dig a little bit of blood out of one of his ears, and say, right, I'm getting urgency, some kind of desperate attempt to get our attention. It's easy enough. It's already done. But as to what they want us to accomplish, I'm not sure. Supposedly, it has something to do with this shuttle we've taken up. The timing, the coincidence is far from it. Suggestions, and he'll kind of open the floor to, Lieutenant Talix and the rest of the sort of, main kind of command crew.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm wondering if we could run a scan. So we already have the audio messages from them, but I'm wondering if we could run a scan of the ship, if you will, in front of us, just to see if there's anything that matches items that we've seen before or any other type of species that we've encountered.
Sure. Why don't you give me a reason and science, Talix? And the station, so if somebody wants to grab Osiris Station, usually that falls to the engineer, so Mr. Evans, if you would care to pull up Osiris Station.
Yes, sir.
Osiris Station will be assisting you with a computers and command. And a note on the station: the station always rolls 1 die on an assist, and it always has a focus.
Okay. So what's the station calling?
Computers and command in this instance.
And Talix should have a focus in this with cultural studies and biology.
Correct. Now,
so
the difficulty...
1 dice using a focus.
Yeah, using a focus. The total difficulty will be a 2 on this one.
Okay.
Okay, well, that's 3 successes, so you go back up to 4 momentum. So, kind of an above-table question. Do you remember the crystalline entity from TNG?
I do.
Oh, who could forget?
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, for anybody who doesn't know, or any new Trekkies out there, basically in TNG there was a crystalline entity which literally was made of living crystal, and it was sort of a menace because it went around destroying colonies and colonists and the whole 9 yards. But right towards the end of the crystalline entity's existence, they were trying to actually figure out how to communicate with it, and then morally gray things happened to the crystalline entity, is all I'll say. But what matters is that this alien vessel isn't the crystalline entity, but it is a species that is remarkably similar. So it's not the same, but it is very similar.
Right. Okay.
Commander, it appears that we, as in the Federation, has previously encountered an entity like this, but it's not exactly like anything specifically we've seen before. It's a little difficult to tell, but it is definitely of a crystalline structure.
I see. Anything else that Federation records can tell us about entities like this? Their weaknesses, their usual intent, their cultural customs?
It doesn't appear that we have any context on their cultural customs. It's, again, only been encountered once or twice in history.
I presume those contacts were, let us say, aggressive in nature?
Yes, sir.
I see.
I would like to return to my station on ops after I've finished up with the phasers.
Okay, yeah, you can walk on ops.
Mm-hmm. And I'm going to assume my station at operations.
Okay.
Okay. E, I'm going to attempt something.
Okay.
Hold my beer, please.
Okay.
Oh, no.
So, Vinchari, right?
Mm-hmm.
They have a talent called vocal gymnastics.
They do.
So they have the ability to mimic any voice they have heard, and most non-vocal sounds they hear, accurate to a degree that even computer analysis couldn't distinguish them from the real thing.
Mm-hmm.
What I would like to do is attempt to mimic the message we've just received, right?
Mm-hmm.
To try to like get a sense of like urgency and danger to them as well, just to see if I can give them some kind of pause, buy us more time perhaps, or maybe that they will, if they know that we quote unquote speak their language, they may try different means of communicating with us.
Okay, I like it. Let's do this as a presence and command. So definitely your pure power stat here. The only catch is I don't think you have a focus, but you do have the Vinchari has a trait, and you do have the talent vocal gymnastics. So rather than it being a difficulty of 5, it is only a difficulty of 4.
Okay. Here's what I'm going to do, all right? I'm going to spend a determination.
Okay.
Okay. And I'm going to invoke my value, good leaders get their hands dirty.
I like it.
Because that is exactly what I'm doing here. And I will literally go off to the communication station and like reproduce this horrible screeching car crash-esque kind of sound into a nearby sound recorder, right? Probably making everyone very uncomfortable and within like 15 feet of me. And try to reproduce that sound, and I'll use the determination to get the automatic critical success.
Okay, so you'll start with 2 free successes. The question is, do you buy any additional dice?
I think so, yes. I'll use 1 momentum to buy an additional die.
Okay.
Okay, so on my window that's just popped up, I should just select 3 dice, right? And click determination value.
Correct.
Okay. All right, here we go.
All right, and there's the 4 successes you need. So, as you said, you reproduce this noise, and everybody in the immediate area is like, ugh. But you repeat the noise, and after a moment, the alien craft repeats the message and then modulates it slightly. Where, I wish I knew some actual German that I could yell at you with. But, instead of them yelling Achtung or yelling Frankfurt or I don't know, German words. I don't know German. I'm sorry.
I know when I meet Germans, they usually yell a place name at me.
Yeah, just yelling random things. But it's the difference between like yelling to stop and yelling to go. So it's maybe there's a slight uptick in the new word that they're saying, if it is even a word, but there is a change in the message that does signify they understood what you said back to them.
Okay. That's good. That's progress, right?
Now, they are still very much approaching the station at high impulse.
Okay. All right. Okay, above table. My first impulse, right, is to, again, it's not a coincidence that we have been monkeying with this strange, bigger on the inside shuttle, and now these people have arrived, right? So my first impulse is to simply release that shuttle, like into open space for these figures to do with what they will, or at least to change the tenor of the screechy conversation we're having. But I'm eager to hear other sort of other options.
Is the Vulcan science research team who brought the shuttle to us still around at all?
They are. They are still docked with the station.
Would we be able to consult with them to see if they had encountered anything like the entity that we see before us right now?
Yeah, and in fact, you maybe quickly, in ops, get the Vulcan commander on the horn, and he says, "Yes, I have been monitoring the situation. However, I cannot confirm that we have ever encountered an entity such as the one that is approaching the station. It is highly illogical that this entity and the shuttle are related. However, stranger things have happened." For we have been carrying that shuttle for over 2 years, and never once have we encountered again any species such as this. I do not believe they are here for the shuttle.
Commander, I have a bit of a hunch, and this is definitely a big hunch. I heard some talk about that crystalline entity that the Federation encountered a long time ago. As I recall, prior to its destruction, a scientist was capable of creating some kind of a translation matrix for it, almost. Not entirely, but as close as we could get. It may be possible if we took, I believe their name was Dr. Marr? Dr. Marr's research, we might be able to build something off of that to try and communicate with this thing more effectively.
Wise notion, Ensign, but do we have enough time in order to develop this translation matrix or to implement it here at the station? Is my question.
Well, that's a good question. Everything here on this station, again, is pretty ancient. I'm not even sure I can rely on the computer to make calculations quick enough for me. If we could buy time somehow, yes. I could do it, maybe, with the help of the good doctor here.
All right. Lieutenant Talax, if you'll work together with Ensign Evans to try to acquire or reproduce this translation matrix, just get it started so that we have options available to us on the table. For now, I will attempt to run interference, as they say.
Right.
Yes, sir. More than happy to assist.
I'll try to get this done for you in half an hour, is the best I can say.
Make it 20 minutes and I'll owe you a drink.
Aye, sir. Come on, Doc. As I'm leaving with the doctor, I'm gonna... Why do all captains do that?
Well, I've had many an interaction with the captain. This one, the station commander before, and some of the other assignments I've seen. And the most important thing to know as you're starting your career is ultimately, there are lives at stake. There are things that we need to do quickly. And in this case, I feel that he knows that you are up to the task of ensuring the station's safety. We are up to that task.
Right then. Well, hopefully we can calibrate this translation matrix quickly then. 20 minutes, he said, and let's get it done in 15.
All right. So, the way this is going to work is you will have to go down to one of the main computer matrices. Unlike a quote-unquote modern starbase or a modern starship that runs on, bioneural gel packs and the shiny new toys, you're still dealing with isolinear rods and the like. So it's distributed throughout the station. It's not a central point that you can just go to. But the good news is that the communication subsystem is at least just a few decks below, so it's not like you're having to go from the top of the station all the way down to the bottom. However, during the transit time, I am going to cause a complication with threat and say that about midway between the ops and your destination, the turbolift loses power, and you are stuck in the turbolift.
Oh, come on! The maglocks on the turbolift must have lost power. Of all the times for... Okay.
Deep breath, Ensign. This is a rather unfortunate situation, but I'm certain we'll be able to find a way out of it.
Well, if we're really desperate, we could climb through the emergency exit on the top and take the ladder rungs on the turbolift shaft, but that'll significantly increase the time from here to the next couple decks.
Why don't we go ahead and see if we can contact Chief Yen, and maybe she might be able to perform a little miracle for us.
Let's hope. Ensign Kyoto Evans to Chief Yen.
Yen here. Go ahead, sir.
Turbolift just went out. Do you have any way that you can get it back online?
Well, I've got good news and bad news. The good news, transporters are still open. Bad news is that it's not just your turbolift, it's all turbolifts across the entire station.
Can you identify a cause?
Far as I can tell so far is that apparently the traffic control network has frozen. I'm attempting a reboot right now. Problem is that rebooting it's going to take about 10 minutes, and that's at best case scenario.
Right. You said transporters are still online?
Aye. Do you wish me to beam you somewhere?
Thank you. Yes. 2 of us are in this turbo lift. If you could give us a site-to-site transport to the communications computer core area.
Aye, beaming you now. And
thank you.
As you beam away, chat redeems a complication. And that complication...
Thank you, chat.
Yeah, thank you, chat. That complication is actually just going to be 2 threat, because I have ideas. So
thank you, sir. May I have another?
Yeah.
Complications will continue until morale improves.
Mm-hmm. But the good news is that you are safely transported to the communications hub. You are not merged with each other. You're not tuvixed. You're not merged with the bulkheads or anything. You arrive intact as you are. And you set to work on using that very old translation matrix on the crystalline entity. However, here's where it gets challenging. So, based on the amount of time that you have, and based on the difficulty of basically reworking this translation matrix, you are already looking at a difficulty of 5. Now,
that's so awesome.
The even worse news is I have 10 threat. So I'm going to be spending 3 of it to make your complication range, anybody who's assisting on this as well, your complication range is 17 to 20, which means if you roll 17 or higher, that's a complication. But let's start talking about the good things that you have going for you here. Okay. So Evans, you are rolling a daring and engineering for your part.
Which are my most powerful, nearly, so that's good.
Osiris Station is assisting you with a communications and command. And then Talix You are assisting with I could see a reason in science, I could see a control in science. It's really just whatever you think you can sell to me. However, Talix, since you are the second assist, in order for your assist to count, you have to spend 1 momentum.
And I'm happy to spend that momentum.
Okay. And as a reminder, again, everybody, this is a difficulty of 5, complication range 17 to 20. So you may wish to buy additional dice, you may wish to spend determination, and if you need an explanation of anything, please do let me know.
I am definitely going to spend a determination to get an extra dice.
Okay, so the way it works in second edition is the determination spend doesn't actually add a die like it did in first edition. In second edition, what it does is it just turns a die already in your pool to a 1, which is 2 free successes.
Okay, well, I'm going to spend 1.
Okay. And what value are you tapping?
Sorry?
So in order to use determination, you have to tap a value.
Tap a value. What does that mean?
Basically just saying, hey, I think this value applies to this situation.
Okay, I see. Gotcha. I don't think I have a value that can apply here, because my values are negotiation is always possible, verify always, act next, resistance is never futile, and trauma from Nuskins, so...
Well, I don't know. I think negotiation is always possible. You are trying to...
That is true.
Trying to come up with a communication matrix. That implies negotiation to me.
Then I will argue for that.
Okay, yeah, sure. Now, again,
right.
I will point out that you do have a bold engineering, which means if you at least buy 1 additional die with threat, you will have a reroll available to you.
I think we have enough threat.
Well, again, it is a difficulty of 5, and even with your 2 free successes, that's 3 more successes you have to get across you, the Starbase, and Talix.
I may have to do it then.
The question is, how many additional dice do you want?
Just 1 more.
Okay, that's just 1 threat then.
Okay. Alright, Doc, you ready to hit it?
Yeah, I have a question about the assist that I'm giving.
Okay.
Am I able to tap into talents for that?
You are.
So I was wondering if in this case, applied research would work here, given we did a task earlier to receive information on the crystalline entity.
Mm-hmm.
And so now we're sort of following up on a task to move forward with, applying that in communication with them.
Right. Now, I like what you're thinking at. I applaud it. The only thing that it says in the talent, though, that's the issue, is that it's the first bonus die you purchase is free. So if Talix was doing the main role, then yes, I would say yes, you have a third D20 just already gone. But because you are assisting, you cannot buy dice on an assist. You can use determination, but you can't buy dice, unfortunately.
Okay. Well, since I can't buy dice, I think I'm going to go ahead and use my determination point.
Okay.
And I'll use the value every culture has its unique wisdom to share, given this communication will allow us to learn more from the crystalline entity that we are currently working with.
Okay, so no need for you to actually do any rolling. We'll just know that you already have an assist with 2 free successes.
Perfect.
All right. I'm going to roll for myself, and then I'm going to roll for Osiris.
Okay.
I hope I did this right. Here we go.
You did. So the good news is you can re-roll that 20. Okay. And the way you would do that is either hit the re-roll results in chat, or just hit perform task again and put everything to 17 to 20, and then just 1 die kind of a thing. Whichever way you prefer.
Re-roll. Huh? Where?
So in Foundry chat, you see there's reroll results with a question mark. If you click that, it'll ask you the same questions.
Okay, gotcha. And then I'm just doing 1 dice now?
Yep.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay, wow. All right. So you turn that 20 into a 1. You are currently at 7 total successes. And that's before Osiris Station rolls.
Osiris Station is, assuming, rolling with the same complication range.
Correct.
All right. Let's do it, buddy boy.
Okay, so no help from the station, but still 7 successes, which is significant. So you get 2 more momentum, bringing you up to 4. And since you both succeeded so well using your determination, what I am going to say is not only are you able to reconfigure the crystalline entity translation matrix, you also are able to translate the message, and Vakobe Ka will be able to use it as we cut back to Vakobe Ka. So, Commander, this
Just
entire time, and feel free to let me know otherwise, but I'm imagining like you're just sort of repeating the noises and just trying to just get them to just slow down a little bit. Would that be a fair thing for me to assume?
Yeah, I'm trying to kind of like, I obviously have a extremely limited vocabulary here, i.e. like basically the individual words or sounds that they said in their initial messages, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just trying to like say them isolated or like combine them in a way that might like, I don't know, do anything, cause them to pause or cause them to like introduce new words into the exchange that I could possibly use, just throwing verbal spaghetti at the wall.
Okay. Now, the bad news is that they're still coming at the station. They have slowed down. They're not no longer full impulse. They're about 1/4 impulse at this point. But they are getting ominously close to the station. And I think I said that the ship itself was fairly small compared to the station, but it's still a large vessel that's coming at you, like a scale 4 or scale 5. So it's getting to the point where they're in weapons range. They're still coming at the station. You still can't understand each other until the translation matrix kicks in, and you start getting like snippets of words here and there. And the words you get are need power, important, new. So need power, important, and new.
Okay. If given that the translation matrix is active now,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to simply ask, and hopefully the computer will translate this, what power and how?
Okay. You get back a very stilted message where, again, only parts of it translate, but the message you get back is reactor, need power, new. So it's kind of repeating itself.
Okay, new. That's the new that I'm hung up on. Okay. Reactor. All right. I will get in contact with Chief Yen, okay, and inquire as to whether or not we have like, is there a secondary reactor? Is there a minor reactor in any of the machinery or like vessels that we have on board that we could conceivably like give to these people, possibly?
So you ask that of Chief Yen, and Yen says, well, sir, can say that there's a large number of backup generators and reactors that we could spin up. As far as just pushing it out an airlock and giving it to these people or transporting it over, we've got a few like that too. But my concern is that just looking at the scans, I'm not sure we have anything that really works with their power signature. Now, I could be wrong on this, but I think the only reactor that could even come close to their harmonic is the station's main reactor.
Well, of course, Chief, that won't be happening. I'll turn and attempt to make another communication with the crystal people,
Okay.
and say, I'll say again. I'm trying to sort of phrase this in sort of caveman terms, right? To limit the complexities of like subtlety or syntax or that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'll try to say, what new? Question mark, right? What new? How new?
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully get some more information about what they mean by new.
The GM is looking at his notes because I actually have a translation matrix, a very crude one. Okay, so the entities are going to say new entity need reactor. I know that doesn't tell you much, but that's what they say.
New entity need reactor. Okay. I guess my follow-up question would be, it won't be a question, it'll be a statement.
Mm-hmm.
The commander will say, reactor maybe not work with you.
Okay, found it in my notes. I know I wrote this down somewhere. So they do reply, but they don't do it in language. And the comms officer reports, sir, they've sent a schematic to us. I'm trying to make heads or tails of it, but at first glance, it looks to be a sweeping amount of changes to our station's reactor to match their harmonic, just as a cursory guess, sir.
I see. Could these changes be implemented quickly and, more importantly, reversed in the future time?
Well, that's a question for Evans and Yin, unfortunately, sir. It's outside my pay grade.
I'll get the comm badge working. Commander Vakobe Ka to Ensign Evans, Lieutenant Tarlax, come in.
Commander, Lieutenant Alex here.
Tarlax, is Evans nearby?
He is nearby. I believe he stepped away for a moment, but I would be happy to assist in the meantime.
Very well. I'm getting communications from our friends, our new friends, thanks to the work you've done on the translation matrix. It seems that they need the use of our main station reactor there. They require energy for some sort of new entity. They're rather desperate for it. I'm going to send down to the nearest console in your area the schematics we've just been transmitted, and I want you and Evans to take a look and see if this is something that we can implement in the station reactor safely, quickly, and possibly reversibly.
Commander, I'd be more than happy to do that. A question for you. A new entity. Do we think it's possible that that could be the entity telling us that they are about to give birth?
I see your reasoning. Something that we could certainly consider. It would explain the frantic nature of their messages.
Yes, indeed. It could be the way that they communicate. I just don't know, but that's what I'm thinking right now based on what you've shared.
All right, Lieutenant, I'll run with your hunch. I'll inquire as to if they're expecting. Commander out.
And
Okay.
I think Umbral has stepped away, so we'll stick on Vokobe Ka till they come back.
Okay, so I will ask the entities on board this vessel, this new vessel. I'll say, I'll ask the question, new entity is child? Birth coming? Question mark.
And they reply, child coming, need reactor, urgent.
Okay. Now I have a value that says verify, then trust.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to determine, I think it makes sense from Vakobeka's perspective, to try to do some kind of like sensor sweep or life sign measurement to determine whether or not a new entity like them is actually being formed, like whether the radiation is being produced, or there's a sudden energy surge, or like there's actual like biological like material being produced, right? Mm-hmm. I want to confirm what they're saying before I, like implement these changes to our reactor.
I have returned.
Welcome back.
Excellent.
Why don't we say, Vakobeka, you're doing a reason medicine here.
Reason medicine. Yes, of course. Reason's
Osiris
okay.
Station
okay.
will assist you with a sensors and medicine. Difficulty of 3.
Okay, difficulty of 3. I don't think I have any focuses that apply here.
Unfortunately not.
I'll get the Osiris roll for you.
Thank you. Okay. What's the difficulty?
Do we have a complication range to worry about?
No, complication range is still a 20, but it is a difficulty of 3.
Difficulty of 3. Okay. I'm going to buy another dice.
With momentum or threat.
Momentum, of course. I'm never going to give you any threat, ever.
Okay. All right.
That's a promise.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, here we go. Reason and medicine.
Okay, that's already 2 successes.
Come on, Station.
Yeah, you can do it, Station. I believe in you.
I'm not sure I do. Not yet, anyway.
You just gotta warm up to her. Yep. That's
do I? Do I?
Well, I can offer you success with 2 complications.
Okay. Is there anything I can do?
Yeah, I don't think there is anything you can do.
No, I don't think I can. Okay, you know what? I'm just going to take the failure.
Okay.
And just keep the 1 complication.
All right. So then the answer is you get a whole lot of bumpkus. You have no idea. These aliens are literally just too alien for you to make heads or tails of them. The complication, though, is that your scan is going to prompt them to resume their breakneck pace towards the station. And I'm also going to spend an additional 2 threat to say that their ship, again, it's a crystalline structure around a ball of light, that prismatic structure is going to attempt to dock with the external reactor ports, if you get my meaning.
I see.
You mean they're ramming us?
Well, they're not ramming you. They're more coming in and just trying to get as close to that reactor as possible.
An extremely aggressive docking procedure.
Exactly.
Which some people call ramming.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I guess the I guess the commander will. Okay. So, what's the ETA on them actually making connection with this external reactor access?
Well, since I spent the 2 threat, they have already done it, and power is fluctuating across the entire station. And Evans and Talix, you'll see this as well. You are seeing that the reactor's levels are dropping dramatically as the aliens are siphoning almost 90% of the power of the reactor.
Commander, whatever they're doing to our reactor, they're siphoning quite a lot of power. Power levels are dropping rapidly at a rate of 90%.
Right, I'll see what I can do to drum up more power available. If, for instance, we possibly, let's say we lower shields all the way down, 0%, right?
Yep.
How much, additional power would that provide the reactor?
20%.
Okay. And if we power down weapons?
total of 30%.
Okay. And if we turn off the no, I'm not. I'm kidding. We're not going to do that. If we jettison all the caffeine, no, we can't do that either.
Non-essential systems, maybe.
Yes, non-essential systems. Any additional systems we can power down at least temporarily.
It'll get you to
Holodeck,
40%.
maybe.
Okay, then that's what the commander will suggest. He'll say, right, power down fully, weapons, shields, and all non-essential systems, and divert that power directly into the vessel's requirements.
All right.
Aye, sir, but I should remind you that we'll be left entirely defenseless.
I'm well aware of that, Ensign. My hope is that in exchange for helping them give birth to this entity, they will look upon us as midwives, if not proud parents or grandparents.
Aye, sir. Powering down non-essential systems, shields, and weapons. Right, rediverting extra power to reactor core.
All right. Now, of course, across the station, not just in ops, but if turbo lifts weren't already broken, they'd be broken now. The lighting goes down to a very dim level. The life support goes to a bare minimum. And all power is being shunted to the reactor. And the aliens are feeding on that energy at a more and more rapid rate. And what I will say is that what this is going to mean is immediately Osiris Station loses reserve power. And what that means is that until an engineer tries to regain or reroute power, you no longer have the ability to do things like, any kind of tactical action is going to be at an increased difficulty. Any sort of power expenditure is definitely at an increased difficulty and complication range. But there are things you can do as an engineer to get more power. You just have to explain what it is you're trying to do, and I'll translate that into a role.
Evans kind of monitors the power drain, and his eyes kind of widen. Sir, they're matching their power drain level to the amount of power that we're putting into the reactor. It's increasing significantly. It's all I can say is they're getting pretty greedy. We've lost all backup power.
Now, E, here's my question. The interior of the bigger on the inside vessel that we were examining earlier, right? That is like dimensionally stable based on our readings, right? And it's not an illusion, is
Correct.
it? Or is it?
No. I mean, you've experimented. I mean, you've even sent a few gremlins in to check it out. It is not an illusion. It's not a hologram. It is the real deal.
Actual physical space. All right.
It's just bigger on the inside.
Well, that's impossible. So, okay. Here's my thinking, right? Maybe we get maybe Chief Yen or maybe a talented engineer to get inside the vessel and try to access something resembling a reactor or some kind of like power diversion unit or something, and basically run an extremely large cable from the interior of that vessel, which presumably would have enough power to supply the vast dimensions of the interior, right? And feed it into the station's reactor to hopefully try to balance or equalize the power drain, their power demands.
Okay. So let's handle that in character. You explain your requirement to Chief Yin, because she's the one down there near the shuttle. And she says, well, sir, I like that idea. However, this is sort of a shuttle of requirement, which means, hold on, sir, I'm going to try something really weird and really brash, but if it works, you're going to love me.
Hell yeah.
Yin, so we kind of do a jump cut where we would see Yin looking at the shuttle requirement. She reattaches the wire that gives the neural reader the ability to read minds. So she reconnects the wire to the shuttle. The shuttle's neurological reader lances out a beam of white light that hits Chief Yin's head. She kind of stumbles back a little bit, and she's a little bit woozy. But that interior space within the shuttle of requirement becomes just row upon row upon row of various reactors. And she says, wow, okay, I would not recommend what I just did, but sir, I think I have essentially, wow, that's 10 more reactors I can hook up to our reactor. Wow, that's a lot.
Remind me to add dimensionally transcendent replicator to your job title.
I know that's a joke, sir, but I actually would kind of appreciate that.
We'll talk in your performance review, Chief. For now, get it done.
Yes, sir. And again, we see basically a bunch of other gremlins run over with this very comically large power cable, and they begin running it to all of the reactors. However, before that connection can be made, I'm going to spend another 2 threat to create the complication that at this point, the aliens are going to have fluctuating life signs, where they're still drawing enormous amounts of power. However, at this point, their life signs are fluctuating to the point of dangerous limits, where one moment their equivalent biology is positive, the next they're having the equivalent of like a high blood rate or blood pressure and heart rate, and then the next they're down into like tombstone levels of like they're throwing like, what's the word I want to use here? They are in danger of expiration, if you get my meaning.
They're on death's crystalline door.
Yes.
Yes, of course. And these are coming from, like, all of the life signs from within the vessel?
See, that's the thing that nobody ever clarified. It's just one life sign at the moment.
Okay. So do we presume that this entity is the birth, giving one, right? And is this a normal factor of their reproduction process, or are they, in a situation that human mothers find themselves in where they could die during the actual birth?
We have no idea how to even measure that because, we have no frame of reference.
Now, if only, let's say, all of us, maybe by about 5 or 7 years older, could travel back in time and tell us the answer to this question. This is where I'm waiting, E, for the older versions of us to come back in time through a rift.
You look around and it doesn't look like the older selves of you show up.
Damn. Okay.
What?
Thought maybe that would work at least once. Okay. Never mind.
No, I'm saving that one for a rainy day, and it's going to be for something so innocuous, like you'll be at the Dabo table, and then just old Vakobe Ka shows up and says, no, you want to bet on that instead. And then he just disappears, doesn't explain, just leaves.
And it won't be like a Sound of Thunder or Butterfly Effect thing where it'll change Vakobe Ka's life. It'll just be like that game will be slightly faster.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, great. Super.
I wonder if the energy it's trying to feed on is close to what it needs, but not quite. And maybe that's the issue.
Well,
we've thrown
that
so much power at it.
Sounds like an excellent role for Mr. Evans. So, Mr. Evans, if you could give me an insight and engineering at a difficulty of 2, you have a focus of electro power systems here.
I do. This is so cool, guys. I have a focus. Complication range is still at a 20.
Still at a 20, and as a reminder, you have bold engineering if you want to give me threat.
I would be okay with doing that right now, honestly, actually.
Okay, so you'll go up to 3d20 unless you want more.
That'll do it. I'll do, donkey. I'll do. Okay. Kalis, guide me. Whoa.
Okay, well, you get the 2 you need. You could crit fish that 17 if you wanted to try to get more successes.
Crit fish?
Basically re-roll the 17 to try to get more successes.
Well, you know what? I'm feeling lucky.
Okay, still nothing, but or no, so it should have been a 15. No, that's okay. You rolled on Osiris sheet. So that would have been a 15,
Whoops.
so you actually do get a momentum back. So well done there.
I clicked the wrong thing.
No, you're good. So, Evans, you are actually right on the money, where it is the difference between, and this is really going to strain the metaphor, it's the difference between 2% milk and ultra pasteurized milk. So you're providing milk, quote unquote, in form of the reactor power. The problem is you're providing 2% where they need ultra pasteurized.
And as far as EPS systems go, and as far as systems go, I think the problem is that they need just sheer power, not electric plasmic power.
Mm-hmm.
Commander, I think I know what's happening. We're feeding it, and that's great. The power that it's trying to get right now is close to what it needs, but not quite. The type of energy that we're feeding it, it's killing it. We need a more raw, more, I don't want to say clean, but more just raw source of power to give it. The reactor isn't going to do that unless we can modify. Actually, let me think here. I believe if I make modifications to the electroplasma systems, I can modify the transfusion emitters within the EPS conduits to separate the plasma and energy from each other and feed it just pure energy. The systems on the station would start to go offline a lot quicker, probably, since they rely on electric plasma power, but it would give it just what it needs.
Do it.
Aye, sir.
All right, Mr. Evans. Very important role for you.
Very.
And I'm going to take that complication from chat to go to 7 threat. So let's walk through the details. Mr. Evans, you are rolling a daring and engineering. Actually, one thing real quick that I have forgotten and need to take note of. Evans, you have untapped potential, which basically means anytime you buy additional dice, you can roll 1d20 and potentially get more momentum or give me more threat. So what you're going to do in Foundry chat is do /roll space 1d20, and if it is a 10 or lower, you get momentum. If it is an 11 or higher, I get threat.
Let's do it.
Okay, I get threat.
Damn.
So your roll again is a daring and engineering. This is a difficulty of 5, as you were probably expecting. I'm also going to make things interesting by changing the complication range to an 18 to 20 with 2 threat spend. And then, because I believe in your ability to succeed and I want to challenge you, I will spend another 2 threat to raise the difficulty to a 6. But, to help you out here, Osiris Station is assisting you with a engines and engineering. And Talix is still with you. If Talix wishes to assist, you just have to tell me how Talix is assisting, and you have to spend 1 momentum.
Engines and engineering for Osiris?
Correct.
Okay. I would actually like to purchase an additional 2 dice using the, what's it called?
With threat or momentum?
With momentum.
Okay, so that would be 3 momentum. That'll bring you up to 4d20.
Okay. And then I'm going to save that last momentum. No offense, Doc. Let's do it. I'm going to be using a focus since I have a focus in EPS systems.
Mm-hmm.
And
now, I would say, in order to trigger bold engineering, you would have to give me at least one threat as your part of your buying process. So what you could do is you could only spend 2 momentum and give me 1 threat, because you can split up the meta currency, and you could do 2 momentum 1 threat, 1 momentum 2 threat, 3
right,
threat.
so I could have it. So I buy for an additional D20 rather than 2 more D20, and then put the other momentum into the the.
So what it would do, and I maybe need to explain it a little bit more. So you would still be getting your 4d20, right? It's just
Right.
that you would be giving me at least 1 point of threat, and I would give you back the equivalent momentum in order to trigger bold engineering.
Gotcha. I'm going to do that.
Okay. So do you want to give me 1 threat, 2 threat?
1 threat.
Okay, so you'll go back up to 2 momentum then.
And then I'd like to use that momentum to buy another dice.
So you're already at 4d20, and in order to get 5d20, you have to give me 3 more meta currency. So it
Then
would
I'll
be...
stick with 4d20.
Okay.
Rolling in 3, 2, 1.
Okay, that's good. That's already 4. Mm-hmm.
And now Osiris Station is going to be rolling.
Engines engineering. Mm-hmm. Always has a focus.
Always has a focus. 1 dice. Complication range at 18.
Yep.
Rolling.
Okay. We are at 5, which means Talix, we need an assist from you here, buddy.
So I guess we'll put that momentum into that then.
All right. So Talix, tell me a little bit about how you would be assisting on this. And it's an open book. Just tell me what you think is cool, and I'll make it work.
Absolutely. Ensign, while you are working on the engineering side of things, I have a bit of a background in biotechnology, and I believe that I've had a chance to look at some other crystalline elements before, and so I would be more than happy to try to monitor and ensure that we are not fracturing any pieces of the crystalline structure as you are attempting to provide it with a more raw source of power. And so in my case, I think it would be, from the... Because do I need a talent here specifically?
No. You just have to tell me what you want to do, and you'll do it, kind of a thing.
I think it's a reason science roll.
With a reason medicine, but your science and medicine are the same score. So
yeah, reason medicine works for me, and then I'll have a focus from the biotechnology.
Yep. So I need to see 1 success here. Remember, it's an assist, so you start with 1 die, and the complication range is still 18 to 20.
Okay.
And you crit. Well done indeed. So 3 things really happen at the same time. The first is that Talix, you monitor the power rate as Evans literally changes the power output of the EPS conduits to a more pure energy form. At the same time, Chief Yin and her gremlins connect the comically large power cable to the reactor room of requirement within the Vulcan shuttle. And immediately there's this blinding flash of light to anybody outside of the station. Anybody inside the station, everything cuts out for a moment. I mean everything. Lights, life support, everything cuts out. And then, moments later, everything comes back up. You're able to see outside of the station on the view screen, etc., etc. And what you see is that where that ball of light was in that prismatic diamond, there's now a smaller little prismatic diamond with its own little energy core that is now floating aside the larger one. And Vokobe Ka, your comms officer, says, sir, I don't think this one needs translation, but they are saying thank you.
Huh.
Oh, give them my best and tell them that in future contact, perhaps we could take things a little slower than this particular situation. Get to know each other
first, you know.
Yes.
Well, sir, I'm not 100% if I'll be able to communicate that using the translation matrix, but... And then everybody pauses as we see the crystalline entities sort of come up to be at station keeping with the rest of the station. And then there's another flash of light. And very similar to TNG, where we see these giant, like, space jellyfish, and it's a wondrous sight. Same sort of thing here, except this time, I'd like you to imagine just these giant, like, beta fish. And they are prismatic, they're crystalline, they're huge. They're bigger than the station. But you see this bigger entity and then a smaller little entity, and their scales are glowing, and then they just sort of swim away off into deep space.
Evans kind of stares at the view screen in awe for a moment. He's never seen anything quite like it before, and after a moment just... Yeah, I think I joined the right job.
And I think that is a wonderful way to end today's session.
Woo! That was awesome.
Now, to be fair, that new life that we created could be the equivalent of Crystal Hitler, so we don't know how that's going to come out. We may have screwed up. But I guess that's true of any children.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the future you didn't show up to stop you, so, it must be okay, right?
That is true. If the future you doesn't show up and stop you, you're fine.
Oh, Lord. All right, but yeah, that was a very fun session. I'm glad you guys pulled it off there at the end. I was like, ooh, this is tense. I don't know if they're going to be able to do it. But you did.
I'm not going to lie. The whole, maybe it's the wrong energy thing, I was just throwing shit at the wall. I don't...
And 6 successes. That's a really high ask.
It is. It is.
My God.
But you did it, and that makes it even better.
That felt rewarding as hell. That was so good.
Mm-hmm. Now, one thing I will say is, real quick, is that everybody did use their determination. So make a note of that somewhere you'll remember, and make sure you know which value you used if you remember that. Because the way character advancement works in Star Trek Adventures 2nd Edition is it's tied to when you use a value. And we'll chat about it, once we're off stream, but just make a note of it somewhere so that you have a record of it. But yeah, Twitch, stick around because we're going to raid somebody, but YouTube, we'll see you later. Bye-bye, YouTube.